talked about this before.
For sure.
It does seem to be, it's all over the place now. I'm a big baseball fan. I watch baseball now, and the broadcasters are telling me what my odds are on FanDuel, for example,
crazy.
Or one of these sites, right? The concern is, it was harder to gamble before, right? You had to have different means to do it, right? The fact that it's so easy, what are some of the concerns that raises from the player's perspective, from people getting in trouble?
So the first thing would be, especially with sports betting, is this illusion of control. So we have, a group of people who play sports themselves, whether they did in high school, whether they play sports now on pickup teams, and they feel that they have so much knowledge of the game that they can predict their win. And so when you have that illusion of control, there is a tendency to have an overconfidence in thinking you'll understand the outcome. So you bet a little bit more aggressively. And so the concern is financially that can have some negative impacts.
Melissa, we had Hockey Night in Canada's Ron McLean on the show last year, and Ron made a comment that kind of stuck with me. He said that sports betting is kind of the new vice. We grew up with tobacco and alcohol ads everywhere in sports. The difference being we weren't getting notifications on phones saying to take a drink like we do with maybe parlaying a bet. How much of a concern is that to you and your organization?
It is a concern because, as you mentioned, there has been a huge increase. And so there's lots of advertisements. You can be on public transit and you're seeing advertisements for it everywhere. I think we're inundated with it. And so the challenge for us, and that we are having conversations around, is the early exposure as well to the encouragement to gambling, right? And so, in terms of a risk group, we would say would be young males between the ages of 18 to 24. We know at that time, the brain isn't fully developed yet. So when it comes to decision making, there isn't all that maturity there at that point. And so the challenge is that while it's legalized as of 18, there are a lot of people who are being exposed to it much earlier than that. And so we just want people to be mindful of what it actually means. Gambling is intended to be entertainment, and we want people to look at it that way and to have a plan around it.
It's a great point. And actually, I hear as well that it's become a problem among people younger than that, even kids 14 to 18. I'm sure you've seen that. You hear stories from people. We all know people who are teenagers, whether they be relatives, friends, kids, whatever. They're talking about how their friends are on these sites. They subscribe to them. They gamble, whether they're using someone else's credit card attached to it. Who knows? But they're losing a lot of money, and they are even expressing concern that they've lost a lot of money. So, how much are you seeing of that?
We're seeing a lot of that. And the challenge is that it's normalized, right? So we are talking about gambling in general more now than we ever have before. And so when it becomes normalized, people don't necessarily recognize that there can be inherent risk, right? So whether it's the lottery card that you get in your birthday card, those types of things, there used to be Proline before, going to casinos. It is 24/7 casino in your hand these days, right? And so it's just around, understanding even tech news is at an all-time high now. And the relationship between the two, particularly for youth, can be really challenging.
Absolutely. Does your organization get their hands on numbers that show like how much bets are being placed in Ontario every year or every day, or how much money is being lost by Ontarians in a day or a week or a month? Do you ever get your hands on that kind of data?
We don't have that data right now. We do have a research team that's looking into these data sets because it also helps us with our prevention messages and our programming and our target population use. So those are things that are currently in the works.